All right, so yesterday we talked about some big technology, new inventions in technology, such as what? Okay, the trains and railroads, and what else, Madeline? The steamboat. Okay, so they really, why was this called the transportation revolution? What did these new technologies do? So did, so did, but are we just talking about people moving or what? Okay, it's transportation of information. Okay, and also transportation of goods and products. Right, it made shipping costs less, and so then therefore they were able to ship goods to all over to new markets. Right. All right. So today we're looking at some more technological advances. All right. One of them being the telegraph. So in 1832, Samuel F.B. Morse perfected the telegraph. So the telegraph is a device that can send information over wires across great distances. So it can now send messages, information, especially after Alfred Lewis Vail created Morse code. Okay, so different combinations of dots and dashes that represent each letter of the alphabet. So it's this own kind of language. It's like how we do texting now through a cell phone, right? Okay, so Morse code is kind of like the texting, right, the beginning of it, but it's through dots and dashes. And so each little dot dash means a different letter, and then a combination of those is how you get the language. Javier? They work together. They're partners, and so they're like kind of co-workers. They kind of, and so he named it after Samuel F. B. Morse. So the telegraph helped businesses become more efficient by speeding up their communication. Right? They were able to, and you'll see in the video in today's assignment, it helped them be able to send information to businesses in a lot much faster time. Or they make a joke about, he makes a joke about that Andrew Jackson, with this development of the telegraph, Andrew Jackson wouldn't have fought a battle 2 weeks after the treaty was signed in the war, like in the War of 1812. Okay, because he didn't get the information that the war was over, right? So it just helped businesses become more efficient by speeding up, right, their communication and being able to deliver information in a much faster time. So at the start of the Industrial Revolution, most factories ran on water power. So if they were running on water power, right, it required factories be built near rivers or waterfalls. And actually, that's a big reason why they were developed in that northeast region, because there's actually a lot of rivers and waterfalls in that region. And so, right, if they're requiring water power to run, well, they need to be built then near water. Mm-hmm. So moving to steam power then, it allowed factory owners to build their businesses anywhere. Right? They weren't requiring water to run, and so therefore they didn't have to be by a water source. And so they can build anywhere then. Right? It didn't matter where they were built. But we do see that they did still stay in that northeast region, and so still this is where most of the nation's industries were. So some companies started building their factories closer to cities and transportation centers to reduce shipping costs, right? The less they have to travel to then ship their goods, right, then the less money they're spending. Okay, so a lot of these companies built their factories, closer to cities, and that's kind of how these cities then started growing. And actually, in my, I think I told you guys I started grad school, and the class I'm currently taking, we kind of been talking about like worker shortages and all this other stuff. But one interesting fact that I've learned is, let's say a job at a like tech company, like in San Francisco and stuff, one of those jobs at the tech company actually creates 3 other jobs in that area. Because if you think about it, when you move somewhere for a job, you still go out to eat. So therefore there still needs to be waitresses, right? You still need to get your hair cut, right? So there's still hairdressers. You need to go to the store. So there's still grocery clerks, right? Okay, so actually it creates other jobs, and that's why we see in today's cities having a lot more jobs, because there's a lot more people and it creates other jobs then. So actually really interesting to think about. So we see cities becoming the center of industrial growth, right, as more companies started building there. And then another interesting fact that I learned also from my grad school class is when one company moves to a city, it's going to attract other companies, right? And that's why there's this place in California, the Silicon Valley, okay, that's where all like a lot of big tech companies are. Yep. So we also see some improvement in farm equipment. So in 1837, John Deere developed a steel plow that made plowing thick soils easier. I'm sure you've recognized that name before if you've ever been in like a place like Home Depot. You've seen, those green tractors, the John Deere green tractors and lawnmowers. Okay. And then we also have in 1831, Cyrus McCormick creating the mechanical reaper, which quickly and efficiently cut down wheat. And so the combination of these two inventions, right, it allowed Midwestern farmers to plant and harvest huge crop fields and more efficiently be able to harvest and plant these crop fields. Is it the same McCormick that made the seasoning? The seasoning, I'm actually not sure about that. Could have been, but I'm not sure. Yeah. It does sound very scary, yes. Like it just sounds like a robotic. Yeah, yeah, it does sound scary, and it definitely was. I mean, it's used to cut down wheat, so it has to be pretty scary and sharp looking, I'm assuming, right? Okay. Yeah, it looks pretty scary if you ever look it up. Okay, but so improvements, right? We see improvements. They are able to farm more efficiently, right? They're able to farm more efficiently, faster. But because of that meant that actually they didn't need as many laborers to work the land, right? If they're able to cut down in half or double the amount of times they're able to work, now we're seeing they aren't needing as many people to work. And so as a result, many people started moving from these rural areas to cities to find work. So we actually, even though we see an improvement in farming technology, right, we see a decline in farmers. We see a decline in people working on farms because they're not needed. Unfortunately, no. We do still see, especially in the north, like a lot of the northern states had already made slavery illegal, so not allowed. Okay, so we do see a lot, and even in places on smaller farms, we don't see as many. Now, in our next unit, we'll actually kind of talk about how slavery grew to what it was. And a big reason was from the cotton boom. But it lowered the amount of people needing to work in farms. Because if you think about it, and you're going to learn in the crash course video too, that right during colonial America, 80% of people worked in farms, and now in today's time, it's 1%. Like crazy. All right, I'm sure all of you have already screenshot and submitted these notes. Your graphic organizer should be filled now. Should be complete. Okay, and so now you have the rest of the class period to be working on the crash course assignment. There are 2 videos. You're going to watch video 1 first for questions 1 through 8, and then you're going to watch video 2 for questions 9 through 16. Okay, I'm going to have you watch it on your own individually, so that way you can pause and play when you are good, or you're free, you have the flexibility to do that. Okay, I would split your screen between the video and the questions. And also I recommend putting closed captioning on. It'll help you better fill in the information. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions.